Okay, this is a quick video on using the advanced MRA widgets, how to create them and set them up for your Wiser project. Now the advanced MRA widgets are for use with the CBus MRA audio equipment, and more importantly, while they can be used in any of the range of equipment, they're very much focused at those that have the Mark III or version 3 matrix unit. That's the black matrix unit. That comes with the options of having built-in tuners and or built-in MP3 streamer. So I'm going to assume that you have the full suite, that's built-in tuners and a matrix and the MP3 streamer. Now this tutorial assumes that you've got PICED installed and you know how to create a Wiser project. And the example here today will just start with a new project and adding just the advanced MRA functions, but of course you can just add that to your existing projects as well. The other assumptions are that you've already set up your MRA system and all the programming for it, including defining media link groups and other features. So I'm not going to go into media link groups for your control, or you're using trigger control for IR or any of those sorts of things. Okay, I'm going to assume you've already done that and know how to do that. So you should have already therefore have a project file under MAPA for your matrix setup. You've obviously got Toolkit installed as well. So starting out with a new project, you will create your normal, I'll create a normal blank project. We will choose Wiser as our product. Okay, I'm going to select my specific CBus project that's specific to this setup. And your usual things, your skins, we'll just quickly skip through these. So, I'll check that that is the correct address. Okay, so correct CNI, good. Okay, so when you set up your Wiser, you create your normal locations and functions. I'm just going to use some defaults that I have here. And then now, before you can actually jump into this, the first thing you need to do is you need to set up PICED. PICED has a audio manager in it, which allows you to quickly configure the details of your MRA, which will make the population of your widgets a lot quicker. So you can't actually proceed with the widget manager until such time as you've created these audio bits, and unfortunately the audio manager is not directly accessible from widget manager. So you first must close widget manager, get rid of any little pop-ups there. And if you go to Project and down to CBus Applications, you will come across Audio Manager. Okay, now there's two ways of doing this. One is you can know everything that you need to know about your matrix unit, how it's switched up, what number it is, all the zones, sources, all those sorts of things. The easier way is actually just to read it from your MAPA project. So if you click on that, it should take you directly to the folder that is where MAPA projects are generally stored, i.e. Clipsal MAPA projects. If you're storing them somewhere else, then navigate to wherever that is. Select your project. Okay, and it will basically read in all the details. So we've got, in this project, I had one matrix unit. I have 8 zones. It's given me all the zone names and their zone numbers. I have the following sources, and it's already tied into those sources the relevant media link groups that I'm using as well. Okay. Now the next one is that you have the ability to have local sources. So the first part should be straightforward. You've got a matrix unit, it's got zones, and the matrix unit has sources. The one thing that's a little bit different with our product is that you have also the ability to have local sources, which are a source being fed directly into an amplifier in that zone, which means it doesn't get distributed to any other zone. So if you have those, then again you can add them manually, or you can just auto create them and it will read those from your project. So you can see in my particular project 4 of my 8 zones have local sources. Okay, now if
you wish at this time, if you haven't used very good names for your naming your sources, or your local zones, or even your zone names, now is a good time to open them up and edit them. Okay, edit the name. If you have a local source enabled, it can be ticked here. If in your project you forgot to do that, or for whatever reason you want to have it, but it's not actually defined in your project, then you can also open, I'll pick a zone that doesn't have it, master bedroom. You could also tick it here, and that would actually enable the ability to listen to a local zone, even if it's not configured within your MAPA project. So moving on, same sort of thing, local sources. So my shared local source is not called shared local source, it's actually called Office PC. Okay, it has no external type of control. Okay, we'll go into these sorts of things later on. We're just going to do the simplistic part of this for the start with. Okay, so but in your main source area, you can see that things like Radio 1, Radio 2 and MP3, which are the built-in sources, come pre-run with their correct media link groups. Okay, so in accordance to how you've configured them within your MAPA project. So let's say, for example, my media center I can control through IR, which I'm doing from the back of the matrix unit. I can choose my external control, which is through CBus IR control, which you would have programmed and configured on your in your matrix unit project to have an IR library which is able to control that source. And I want to add a few basic buttons, so I want to be able to go previous, okay, and you can see the icon that you're going to get, okay, and that icon will become apparent later on. MC remote, and in here I should be able to find my skip back as my command. Okay, so I've pre-created, all this information comes from within, when you create in your MAPA project. So what you see here is basically going to be coming from all the tags and information you created within your MAPA project. So I'm going to quickly add up a couple of these. Now you've got this shortlist position here as well. So this is actually, again will become apparent, but the shortlist position is, there will be two views in the widget for controlling the source, a minimal view and an expanded view. In the minimal view you have obviously a short position for your number of controls. So if you want these to be available in the short, in the minimal view, these controls, then you need to have a shortlist position of which you can have 5, and you can change the order. So the order that I'm going to go for is skip back, stop, play, pause, and skip forward. Stop. Okay. Now what I've actually done when I created my project, not that you get status, but one of the interesting things you can do is you can create different triggers where related sources, related controls like stop, play, and pause are all on an individual trigger group, and that way you don't need to use logic to get status. You can just sort of say, it's either stop, play, or pause. It's not true feedback, but it's good information. Okay, so that's going to do me for now. I can set these up, and basically, yeah, I could add more there, and then I'd create a longer list if I go through, but for this example it will take too long, so we'll just continue on from here. Okay, so there's one type of source set up. The media link groups that like radio, what you can actually do here is you should open these up, and if you're wanting to be able to control the radio, which most people are, they actually have defaults, so you can just load a default, okay, because one exists for it, and load that as a default, and the MP3 one you can load that as a default. So we've determined these to be the most common ones that you might want to use for those products, because they're predefined products. So